How much has our Kitsap market shifted since the Fed started raising interest rates? That is a question that we're going to try to answer and assess today in this week's version of the Kitsap Weekly Market Stats. I thought this would be a great opportunity to not only go over this week's stats with you guys, but also go back and look back and see how all these stats compared to the last week of June when we peaked in the market and right before the Fed really started raising interest rates. Okay, we're going to go through this week's stats first and then we'll compare. This is for last week, the week of February 27th through March 6th, and here we go. We had a nice little mini uptick in new listings. 52 new homes hit the market in all of Kitsap County. Still very, very low, but compared to just a couple weeks ago when we were at 38, those extra 14 is kind of nice. We're going to compare that here to where we were last June. Okay, so 52 new homes. How many homes reduced their price this past week? It kind of gives us a little glimpse into how many people were kind of off the mark of overpriced their homes. Well, 41. That number went up a little bit last week compared to like where we were in June. This is much, much higher than it was a year ago today when everything was still flying off the shelves. Okay, we want this number to go down because that tells us that sellers and sellers agents are hitting the mark. All right, actual activity. All right, is there still stuff going on out there or is it just totally dead? Well, we had 106 go pending, 76 homes actually sold. We are still having a lot of activity. Pending means homes that accepted offers or taken off the market, or maybe they had their inspections and now they're through inspections and on to closing. With 76 sold, so 76 officially closed. Buyers got their homes, sellers got their funds. Inventory continues to kind of creep down. This is pretty similar to what it was last week, but we're not seeing a big jump in inventory. 331 homes on the market all throughout Kitsap County. 26 is the average amount of time a home sits on the market before an offer is accepted. Median sold price this past week, $494,348. Okay, about $495,000. That keeps going down compared to where we were just a couple months ago. So people are starting to price more accurately, lower their prices. All of this, a lot of this is in relation to what's going on with interest rate hikes. So this one's gonna be really interesting to compare to where we were just last year. And then finally, what is our average sold price compared to our list price? 99.02%. So just below 100%, meaning on average, homes are selling about 1% less than what they're listed for. So that is the stats for this week. Let's jump to June of 2022. Let's compare these same exact stats. Now, why again did I pick this date? Well, this is right about to where the peak of the market was, and it's right when the Fed started to implement those interest rates. Last week of June, 121 homes hit the market. Some of this could be seasonality, okay? Some of this is because it's kind of winter time and this is more summer. 121, that's a big difference. List price reduced, 116. So that's right, well, this is right when the market started shifting and people were still way overpricing their homes. They haven't felt the effects yet of the Fed and what was going on out there. That's good, we're learning. That's a nice improvement. Activity levels, now this might jump off the page as not very interesting, but those numbers are pretty dang close to what they were just at the end of June. Think of the difference in just interest rates and values in the last, 8 months or so, and we still have almost identical amount of activity going on. Okay, I just found that interesting. I thought maybe this would be much higher, especially with more homes. Let's compare inventory since we're talking about it. 576 homes. So good, 245 more homes on the market just 8 months ago. That is a big, that's a lot of selection not there right now for our buyers. 576 homes on the market. That's still low. I think a healthy inventory for our county for the amount of people should be up in like the 1,500. So it's still low, but we've been dealing with low inventory, and I think we'll be dealing with low inventory for years. But definitely not to where we were right now. Now this is increasing a little bit. It was down in like the low 200s not too long ago, so it is bumping up a little bit, but still nothing compared to where we were 8 months ago. Now, this one really tells the story. Days on market, 10. Things are still flying off the shelf then, okay? 10 days on market compared to 26. That was still right at the time before people started to slow down and get their inspections. People are still waiving every inspection. We're just throwing cash. So 10. Big difference there. Just tells you the velocity of the movement of homes has changed. Now remember, this was just 41 just 2 weeks ago, so big difference. Sold price, even more eye-opening. Median sold price back to the end of June, $632,000. Where we had almost $140,000 difference. That is a great stat to show sellers the reality of the situation. If you're to do the math, and they say that every 1% you increase a rate, it usually has an 8 to 10% decrease in value of homes. So, I mean, my goodness, look at the differences in interest rates just in 8 months. And look, it's really starting to have an effect on the home prices. Now, do I expect home prices to continue just to plummet? I don't, because there's still a supply issue with a lot of demand. But we have definitely seen an effect on these interest rates. That's huge. I mean, in 8 months. 8 months. So if you sold your home last spring, early June, whatever, that's when you kind of hit the jackpot. You can't predict these things. That's why it's good to go back and look. And finally, our average sold price compared to list price back then was about 103%. So we just started feeling the effects again. It wasn't up in the 110 or 112 that we were really feeling early June or early 2022. But still, on average, homes were selling a good 3%, and on some of these big list homes, that's tens of thousands of dollars. So that's a nice little comparison. But it all kind of makes sense. It all kind of lines up. But a nice little look back, and we're going to do this again. I mean, every 6 months or so, I like to break down the numbers to kind of show the difference. This is a nice little thing. And one little thing, I won't break down on the board here, but the sold breakdowns of this past week. The percentage of homes that sold above list price was 29%. Back then, it was 54%. So another stat that showed that more homes than not sold above list price. We're about 1 in every 3. Okay. So sellers, super important that you price accurately. Don't look at these online generated values. Okay, a lot of those are lagging stats from months ago that they're just pulling in numbers from months and months ago, as we're seeing a very, very rapid change. Real estate is usually slow, and to see these big differences in 8 months, this is rapid. So sellers, it's super important that you are working with a professional that knows the market, that can price your home accurately. You might not like it, but that's just the situation we're in. Buyers, it's super important that you're pre-approved when you go buying, because right now we are seeing days on market go down, which means homes are selling faster, which means if you want to buy a home and you are qualified, get your pre-approval done, get all your ducks in order there. So when you do see the right place, you just go for it. And we're getting back into that territory, buyers, where you're not going to be able to sit and think on it over the weekend. You got to know what you want, what you're expecting, have realistic expectations, and when you see a place that works for you that's within your budget, go for it. All right, that is it for this week. Thank you everyone for tuning in. My name is Joey Walker with the Dupuy team at Keller Williams West Sound. I will be back next week with some fresh stats. Take care.